Have you ever wished that you could just fast forward and learn the life lessons now instead of having to learn them as you go throughout life years down the road? Well, I just turned 30, and after reflecting over the last decade, I've realized that there are 16 core principles that have shaped my health, my career, my mindset, and my relationships for the better. These are lessons that have helped me feel less overwhelmed, more focused, and more in control of my life's direction. And in this episode, I'm going to share them with you so that you can start applying them today to reduce your stress, increase your meaning, and live with more purpose. Before we dive in, if you're listening on the Apple Podcast app or on Spotify, make sure you hit the follow button. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button down below. All right, you guys. Well, happy belated birthday to me. I guess I hate that I just said that, but I did just say it. So here we go. I just turned 30 about a week ago, and I really wanted to do an episode reflecting on a lot of the things that I learned in my 20s. It is funny, when I was 20 and 21 years old, I'll admit when I was 20, I was in college, a fraternity kid, drinking a lot. I was still responsible, getting good grades. I had began my career as an Orange Theory fitness coach, and I did not know where my life was going. That is for darn sure. I was majoring in finance and insurance at the University of Georgia, and would not have assumed that 10 years down the road, I would be running my own business in fitness and in health and in nutrition and married and have a couple houses and everything like that. So anyways, I wanted to reflect and share 16 lessons. So I spent some time reflecting on lessons that I have learned from books that I've read, people that I've interviewed, experiences that I've had that I really feel like have shaped me. Not just like cliche lessons that you hear, but actually lessons that I've learned and lessons that I feel like I've applied to at least some degree that have made a positive impact on my life, mainly from improving my health, improving my career, my business, my mindset, my relationships, both with Kennedy and with other people in my life. And so I'm excited to share these lessons with you today. And I hope some of these lessons are hopefully reminders, but I hope some of them are eye-opening and some of them are things that you really work on applying yourself, because I know that I'm continually working on applying these lessons moving forward in my 30s and beyond as well. So let's get into it. Number one, again, there's a list of 16 here. Let's freaking go, baby. Number one is delayed gratification is better than instant gratification. This is in so many areas of life that we need to understand this. When it comes to finances, oftentimes we get instant gratification from buying that shiny object, when in reality, that shiny object makes us happy for a moment, but it doesn't actually provide us with any kind of lasting happiness, and we end up throwing the thing away, or we end up forgetting about it, when in reality, we could have taken that same $500 that we bought that shiny object with, and we could have invested it, and we could have earned 8%, 10% return on that thing in the long term, and had delayed gratification from the increased amount of money we would have had in the long term. With regards to health and fitness, instant gratification means going to your freezer and getting the ice cream and indulging in ice cream. Delayed gratification means eating the healthy things so that you can be happy with your body composition tomorrow and next week and next month, so on and so forth. And so the way that I like to think about it is there are times when instant gratification is fine, when you need to be looking after the current version of yourself. But there's also times when you need to do delayed gratification and you need to look after the future version of yourself. And life is all about figuring out and navigating the right balance of when you need to be looking after current version of you and future version of you. And when you can strike the right balance of taking care of both of those individuals, then that's the magic. So number one is delayed gratification. Number two is embrace the gap between stimulus and response. I primarily learned this through Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Viktor Frankl, talking about, if you've never read that book before, go read that book, Man's Search for Meaning, Dr. Viktor Frankl, famous basically psychologist who was in Auschwitz in Nazi Germany, and he wrote a book about finding meaning while he was in the Nazi camps. And he talked about how, as human beings, our greatest power is how we can respond to every situation. We can't control circumstances that happen, but we can always determine the response that we follow up with. And this is a great mindset thing, because when negative circumstances inevitably happen in life, then we don't have to always be knocked down by them. We can choose to look at them and with proper perspective and respond in a positive way. But this is also really important to know when it comes with relationships. When somebody says something that is mean to you or hurtful for you, instead of just responding reactively right away, give yourself a chance to breathe and give yourself a chance to process it and respond more thoughtfully rather than just react. So rather than be reactive, be responsive and thoughtfully so. So number 2 is embrace the gap between stimulus and response, both with world circumstances and things and life circumstances, and also in your relationships. Number 3 is don't place expectations on others. This came from this lesson that I learned primarily from a book called Awareness by Anthony DeMello. Amazing book, Awareness by Anthony DeMello. Don't place expectations on others. One of the things that really changed my mindset, and I need to continually remind myself of this one is hard, is that placing expectations on other people is really selfish on you. Like, who are you to expect that somebody else should show up in a certain way? Who are you to expect somebody else to say a certain thing? But we do that all the time. We expect people to do things for us, or we expect people to act a certain way or say certain things, both to us or others. And it's like, who are we to dictate what that person should do, how they should act, and what they should say? It's like, that is just a selfish way to think. The world does not evolve around you, and everybody can't act in a manner with which you would like. And so drop expectations of others. Obviously, it's nice if people maybe act in a manner in which you would like them to act, or do things that you would like them to do, or say things that you would like them to say. But like at the end of the day, you can't control that. So drop it. Don't place expectations on others. Step number 4, principle number 4, or lesson number 4, is get your house in order first. Primarily stands out to me learning this in the 12 Rules for Life by Dr. Jordan Peterson. He talks about cleaning up your room first, making your bed, get your house in order first. And what that means is, like, all of us are so quick to judge other people and complain about how other people are messed up. And we blame other people and we complain about all the reasons why they are the way that they are, and that is negatively impacting us. It's like, have you looked in the mirror recently? You've got a lot of crap going on with you as well. There's a lot of things that you could fix that could improve your life. So how about you worry about yourself rather than blaming somebody else first? And this is not supposed to be like a knocking you with a stick and wagging my finger at you, or me wagging my finger at me. This is like an empowering thing. It's like, if something is not right in your life, don't blame something else. Look at yourself in the mirror and clean up your house first before you blame or judge other people. So get your house in order first. Lesson number 5 is cast visions regularly, but be open to new paths. When I read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I think maybe it's the first habit, it's been a long time since I've read it now, is begin with the end in mind. Have a long-term vision, because that will inform your decision-making in the short term. And that's really important to understand, have an idea of where you want to go 6 months down the road, or 1 year down the road, or 5 years, or 10 years, or 20 years, obviously depending on what area of your life that you're talking about. But having some sort of long-term vision is really important, because that informs your decision-making along the way. But at the same time, the current version of yourself only has so much information. You have no idea what you might actually want in 20 years. You might have no idea what circumstances arise over the course of the next 6 months to change the path. And so you need to cast visions regularly, because it informs decision making, and it provides you with hope, and provides you with motivation, and provides you with a vision of where you want to go. But we need to be open to new paths, because we only have so much information as the current version of ourselves. And there's going to be new circumstances, new experiences, new learnings, new skill sets that could change the trajectory of that vision and the path that we're on. So number 5 is cast visions regularly, but be open to new paths. Number 6 is establish routine, because it generates progress and results. Habits are the compounding interest of self-improvement. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but it's by James Clear, Atomic Habits. Habits are the compounding interest of self-improvement. If you've never heard of compound interest before, then you need to know what that means from a financial perspective. Conversation for another story. Habits, when done repeatedly, compound upon themselves and give you exponential returns over time. You only get results and you only get progress in life when you do certain things that move the needle repeatedly. So number 6 is establish routine because it generates progress and results. Number 7, not contrary to that, but different than that, is embrace novelty because it creates stories and memories. This is something that I need to constantly remind myself because I'm a routine guy. I'm like habits. Go to bed on time, wake up in the morning, do this, do that, check off the boxes. But I need to embrace novelty because novelty creates stories that you have in the resume of your life, creates memories that you have, and it can help to generate new opportunities. And so while routine is really important and we need to always have routine, we need to also be seeking out certain amounts of novelty as we go through our life. Number 8, this is more on a relationship perspective, or this is a relationship perspective. And this is from a lesson that I feel like was really important for me and Kennedy individually before finding each other. So number 8 is become independent first. I think that one of the reasons why Kennedy and I's relationship works very well, obviously it's not perfect, but works very well, is because we didn't meet each other and start dating until we were 28 or just before we turned 28. And at that point, we had both been single for a while. We had both lived by ourselves for a while. And that means we had to, cook for ourselves, clean for ourselves, get a job, get a career, pay for ourselves. And we had to learn how to be independent in the different areas of our lives. And it is important to be independent people who make each other better rather than I am dependent on somebody else to live my life. If I am dependent on somebody else to live my life practically, but also emotionally, then I'm not setting myself up for success. I think one of the things that is really good about Kenny and I's relationship is we are both independent individuals. We can live life on our own. We don't completely rely on each other emotionally. Now, as a couple, we're better. As a couple, one of our principles of love and being the best couple we can is that we're better together. But I believe she can live life without me. I would want her to be able to live life without me, God forbid. And obviously I love Kennedy to the moon and back, but I can live life without her. I would want myself to be able to live life without her. And so some of you guys who are listening to this are married. Some of you are not married. So you can apply this however you want, but become independent first is the lesson that I learned in my 20s. Number 9, you don't need to see the mountaintop in order to start climbing. One of the things that when I first graduated college, I knew I wanted to do something with health and fitness long-term, or I thought I would love to do something with health and fitness long-term because I was an Orange Theory fitness coach, but I majored in finance. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to get a job in finance since this is what I studied in college. And at some point, I'm going to kind of transition into the health and fitness industry once I figure out what I want to do. That was my thought process. That is literally what would always be running through my mind. Then I got a job, worked there for 2 weeks. And during that 2 weeks, this same thought process was running through my head. This same thought was, why am I wasting 9 hours a day doing something I know I don't want to do long-term when I could be working on the thing that I do want to do long-term, that being health and fitness. And so after 2 weeks, I quit. On the 3rd week of Monday, I went in, told my boss I wasn't going to do it anymore, and I left and I committed to experimenting with a career in health and fitness. I had no idea what that meant. So I had no idea what that long-term goal or what that long-term career ended up looking like, and I still don't. But I took the first step and then I took another, and I've continued to gain a little bit more and more clarity as I've gone. And the idea is that clarity is revealed through action. You don't get clarity by just sitting on a couch one day and boom, the light bulb moment pops up. Like very rarely does that actually happen. Clarity is revealed through action. So the next step only reveals itself once you take the one before it. So you don't need to see the mountaintop to start climbing. Number 10 is you get urges for a reason. So I don't know about you, but there have been times when I see problems or I see opportunities and I get a heightened sense of like, I need to go do that. I need to go try this. I need to start a podcast. Oh man, I love this book. I need to start a 10-week transformation program. Oh man, I got to start a Best You retreat. there are times when you get urges, and I really believe that you get urges for a reason. I have continually grown more and more in my faith over the last number of years, and I really believe that is God speaking to you. That is God calling to you and nudging you like, hey, this is probably something that you should be exploring. Now, one of the things I want to say that you want to be aware of is that these callings or these urges, you want to listen to them when they are consistently loud enough. Oftentimes we get shiny object syndrome, and so we think something sounds good and we want to try that, and we kind of bounce around so many times. So you don't want to just necessarily experiment with something just because it's a one-time idea. I think that if something calls to you or urges you to do it consistently and loud enough, and it's like really feels strong, then go for it. So you get urges for a reason. Follow those urges, follow those callings. Number 11 is never neglect any area of your life. Those of you guys who've listened to the podcast for a while, you know I conceptualize my life in 6 areas, and I would prefer everybody, I believe that the best way to live your life is to conceptualize your life into these 6 areas: your health, your personal life, your career, your finances, your spiritual life, and your relationships. And those 6 areas are 6 areas that are common to all our human experience. No person is immune to any of the 6 areas. We all need to dedicate some time, energy, and attention to these areas. And I believe that what happens if you don't is you experience stress, you experience anxiety, you experience more unnecessary problems that you would otherwise not have experienced if you did dedicate some focus to those areas of your life. And so I believe that if one of those areas of your life gets neglected for a certain period of time, you will experience negative consequences in the form of, again, stress, anxieties, problems, issues, or what have you. And I believe that the duration of the neglect of that area of life is going to be in direct proportion to the magnitude of the consequence. Let me say that again. The duration of the neglect, the duration of the time that you don't spend in that area of your life, the duration of the neglect will be directly proportional to the size of the negative consequence. Neglect your health for 1 day, not a big deal. 1 week, still probably not a big deal. 1 year, probably going to experience some negative consequences. 10 years, those consequences are going to be even bigger. So try to ensure that you're never neglecting any area of your life. And if you find that you are, self-correct quickly and make sure it doesn't last very long. Number 12, you can't chase 2 rabbits at once. There's a Chinese proverb that says, a man who chases 2 rabbits catches none. You see, so many of us who are especially driven like to chase after so many goals simultaneously. But if both of those goals really require a lot of time, energy, and attention, you're not going to be able to get both of them. Just actually visualize you trying to chase after 2 rabbits who are sprinting ahead. Now, rabbits are super fast, so you're probably not catching any of them in real life, but let's follow the principle here. If 2 of them are sprinting straight ahead and you try to chase after one and then get a little bit closer to the other and then you continue to bounce back and forth, you're not going to catch any of them. But if you simply dedicated your sole focus on sprinting after the one, you've got a chance. And so the principle is make sure you're not attempting to chase after 2 massive goals simultaneously because you can't chase 2 rabbits at once. 12 down, 4 to go. 13, curiosity is king. I think that curiosity, really firing the flame of curiosity, is one of the most important things we can do for so many different reasons in so many different areas of life. I think that a lack of curiosity renders progress impossible, but consistent curiosity renders progress inevitable. If you're curious about something, you will continue to search and learn and experiment and try to find a way to make progress. And it might not happen immediately, but if you continue to work at it and you continue to stay curious and not feel defeated, at some point progress is inevitable. Again, it might not happen at the rate at which you would like, but it's going to be inevitable. When you stop asking questions and you lose curiosity, you literally render progress impossible. If you lose curiosity, you're not going to make any progress. So curiosity is king. Number 14, be proactive, not responsive. I think in this area of life, the thing that's top of mind is, Kennedy and I have recently gotten married. We've been married October, November, December, January, February, March. Woo-hoo-hoo! Man, at this point in time, we're about 6 months married. How about that? Half a year. Happy half a year anniversary, Nick and Kennedy. No, but our relationship is great. But, we're only 30 years old, so we haven't been around this earth for as long as a lot of people. But I've seen enough, I've heard enough, I've learned enough that marriage is real hard and it's going to get difficult. And the time to work on your marriage and your relationship isn't when it's down in the dumps. You want to always be working on your relationship no matter how good it is. Same thing with your health. The time to wait to work on your health is not when you're in bad health. It's when you're in good health. Be proactive. Don't wait for issues to arise to start working on a particular area. Be proactive and start working on it now. Therefore, decreasing the problems that you might have in the future. Of course, life is going to throw you problems. So don't experience more unnecessary problems due to your lack of being proactive. So be on it. Be proactive, not responsive. Number 15, sacrifice and responsibility equal meaning. I think meaning is what we all need to be searching for. Like I mentioned earlier, Dr. Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. I really believe that's actually what we're all subconsciously or consciously searching for, is meaning in life. And how do we get meaning? It's not by happiness. It's not by, I shouldn't say it's not by happiness. It's not by buying things. It's not by sitting on a beach. It's by sacrifice and responsibility. It's by sacrificing yourself for the greater good. That could be another person. That could be a greater mission. That could be your family. And taking responsibility for yourself, for your family, for your kids, for your family members, for some of your community, for your role in your company. Sacrifice and responsibility equal meaning. So remember that sacrifice is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. It's something that you should want to do, not something that you have to do. And same thing with responsibility. You should crave responsibility because while it might be difficult at times, it's actually what provides you meaning. And then 16th and finally, before I dive into it, remember we're doing a Build an Intentional Life workshop on April 17th at 5 p.m. Central Time. And I would love for you to join. If you go to nickcarrier.com/intentional, that's how you can register. April 17th, 5 p.m. Central Time, nickcarrier.com/intentional. We're going to be talking about the 6 areas of life so that you no longer feel like the life is just chaotic, but you actually feel organized. You feel in control of all the things that you have going on. Sign up today at nickcarrier.com/intentional. Number 16, you don't experience life. You experience the part of life that you focus on. Now, this is something that I've taken from Tony Robbins. Life is all about perspective. At any point in life, there are going to be a ton of bad things that are going on. Super positive, right? Also, at any point in life, there's going to be so many good things that are going on. Are you going to focus on the bad or are you going to focus on the good? That is up to you. And so you don't experience life. You experience the part of life that you focus on. And what you focus on regulates your emotions for the good or for the bad, for the better or for the worse. And so work on controlling what you focus on as best you can because you actually do have a large amount of control on it. And so, for example, you want to focus on what you do have rather than what you don't have. You want to be you want to be thankful. You want to have gratitude. You want to focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. You want to learn from the past, not dwell on it. You want to plan for the future, not overly obsess about it. And you want to be in the present. You want to be where your feet are. And so you don't experience life. You experience the part of life that you focus on. Woo! 30s, baby! Here we come. Sorry if I just yelled in your ear a little bit, but I'm fired up. I am fired up. Actually, at the time of this recording, to be open and honest with you, I'm still 29. So I'm really excited to be 30. I think that age is just a number, and I am excited about the continued experiences. I'm excited about the experiences that I have had that's gotten me to this point. I'm excited about the continued experiences that I'm going to have and the continued lessons. I can't wait for the 16 more lessons that I learned in my 30s, and I'll record that podcast episode when I'm turning 40. That's kind of weird to say, but here we go, baby. I hope today helps you. Remember, you can go to nickcarrier.com/intentional. to sign up for the Build an Intentional Life workshop on Thursday, April 17th at 5 p.m. Central Time, nickcarrier.com/intentional. I hope today helps in all areas of your life, and therefore I hope today helps you get closer and closer to your best you.